Hey everybody, thought I would make a short video today. Most of my videos are on ancient and lost history, and since Atlantis is a major part of that ancient and lost history, I thought I would share what Plato has to say in his dialogue The Timeaus, since Plato is our first and original source of the Atlantis tale. And what I'm going to read to you is just a long paragraph from his dialogue The Timeaus, and this is an ancient Egyptian priest relaying this to Plato's grandfather Solon, I believe. It says this: "Many great and wonderful deeds are recorded of your state in our histories, but one of them exceeds all the rest in greatness and valor. For these histories tell of a mighty power which unprovoked made an expedition against the whole of Europe and Asia, and to which your city put an end. This power came forth out of the Atlantic Ocean, for in those days the Atlantic was navigable, and there was an island situated in front of the straits by which you called the Pillar of Hercules. The island was larger than Libya and Asia put together, and was the way to the other islands, and from these you might pass the whole of the opposite continent which surrounded the true ocean, for this sea which is within the Straits of Hercules is only a harbor, having a narrow entrance, but that other is a real sea, and the surrounding land may most truly be called the boundless continent. Now, in this island of Atlantis there was a great and wonderful empire which had rule over the whole island and several others, and over parts of the continent, and furthermore the men of Atlantis had subjected the parts of Libya within the columns of Hercules as far as Egypt, and of Europe as far as Tyrrhenia. This vast power gathered into one, endeavored to subdue at a blow our country and yours, and the whole of the region within the straits. And then, Solon, your country shone forth in the excellence and her virtue and strength among all mankind. She was preeminent in courage and military skill, and was the leader of the Hellenes. And when the rest fell off from her, being compelled to stand alone, after having undergone the very extremity of danger, she defeated and triumphed over the invaders, and preserved from slavery those who were not yet subjugated, and generously liberated all of us who dwell within the pillars. But afterwards there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune all your warlike men in a body sank into the earth, and the island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared in the depths of the sea, for which reason the sea in those parts is impassable and impenetrable, because there is a shoal of mud in the way, and this was caused by the subsidence of the island." Now, just a couple things which I thought were interesting in there. It says here that in those days the Atlantic was navigable. Now, is he talking about the ancient maps that Graham Hancock talks about, where the seas are charted very accurately, and they are depicted on how they looked at the end of the Ice Age, the Piri-Reis maps and other maps that show features that have now disappeared under rising sea levels? It says, "For in those days the Atlantic was navigable." Just wondering. And it says, "which was surrounded by the true ocean." And in those days, thousands of years ago, there was no Pacific Ocean or Indian Ocean or Antarctic Ocean. It was all the Atlantic Ocean. There was one world ocean, and it was called the Atlantic Ocean. So just a couple things I thought were interesting. It sounds like Atlantis went to war with the people inside the Straits of Hercules, the Greeks, and so forth. And it's kind of a lesson here. The gods got mad at this, and their civilization was destroyed in a single day and night. Floods and earthquakes, if you ask me, I think that led to tsunamis, and the island didn't actually sink. It was just covered up by rising sea levels and tsunamis and aftermath of these earthquakes, these violent earthquakes. And whether these were caused by actual earthquakes or, common impacts that are pretty much, or something hit us from outer space about 12,900 years ago, that's been proven. Was this a cause of these earthquakes? That is, still up for debate. But just thought I would share what Plato actually says about Atlantis in his dialogue The Timeaus. Hope you thought this was at least mildly interesting. Have a nice day.